Hello, beautiful people. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. So, y'all, how you guys doing? How is life? How is your spirit? How is going? I'm about to update you on mine. So, this is this week's version of Women Crush Wednesday Live. It is, I wanted to take the opportunity. I had a guest set up, and unfortunately, not even unfortunately, fortunately, it just wasn't the time right now. And that's okay. We won't flow and let things go. And I realize this is a beautiful opportunity to showcase my personal journey and where I have been mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and just showcase for therapeutic, freeing moments, but also to showcase an uplift and that it resonate with somebody else's spirit and encourage them to live in their own truth and to continue to take the daily steps that is needed to elevate you. It is getting hot in the sun, but I did take this day. It was my off day. I took this day to ground myself, to sunbathe, to just be one with Mother Nature, to let God give me the words to talk, to just flow. So, that being said, thanks so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you do not want to miss these videos, these sprinkles of positivity. We just gonna let spirit move and just flow. And honestly, in this current state, I'm at a present state of gratitude. I'm at a present state of just transition and learning what faith needs and wants and her desires. And you already know I'm a big advocate for elevating the Black woman, for not only just to break out of society norms, but also for the liberation that is required, that is our birthright, to feel free mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So each story, each chance to be vulnerable is a beautiful opportunity to grow, to just shed light on things that we don't really like to talk about. So honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's been rough these last couple months. For those who don't know, I moved from Maryland. My husband and I moved from Maryland to Charlotte almost a year ago. And honestly, it has been the most painful, annoying, beautiful, what other emotion that I'm feeling. It's been hard, and that's an understatement. It caused a strain. And out of respect for the marriage, I'm only going to share only aspects of what I feel like God wants me to share. But to be blunt and honest, this move has put a lot of change in the dynamics of me, and the dynamics of my husband, the dynamics of our marriage. And it caused a strain. It caused a strain, an emotional toll. And I ain't gonna lie with y'all, I've been mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically drained. And that's okay, because I learned that in these moments is the moments where God uses an opportunity to increase my faith. That even when I'm not okay, I think of that saying, even when I'm not okay, I'm still thriving, I'm still excelling. And that was a hard concept for me because human emotions are real and we're valid, right? So a strain on the marriage played a role in my identity as a woman. As my identity is just who I am, along with outside variables like jobs, me trying to be an entrepreneur with this mentoring business, me just trying to be real and showcase truth, my truth. Gary was going through a lot, and so was I, but I realized as I had to change the perspective, because I was sitting in a lot of perspectives of ego and self that, I'm being neglected in an emotional sense, I'm being neglected in a spiritual sense. But realistically, it was a matter of switching my perspective and seeing that it was an opportunity for God to restore what was needed. It also was an opportunity for me to take a hard look on this. Not the physical sense, my unconscious bias behaviors. And I realized a lot of stuff, it's easy to point the fingers, as we already know. And I'm gonna have to move over. I love you, son, but Whew. 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 I lost my train of thought, but that's okay. I had to realize that a lot of aspects that I was very unhappy with my job, with moving down here, with the marriage, and with myself, literally surrounded with how I was viewing myself still. A lot of us, when we dive into our spiritual journeys or just journeys of discovering us, it comes to a place, at least I found, that I thought I was at a better place, with dealing with anxiety, dealing with, how to properly respond to stress and any other things that I didn't realize I was striving for perfection, and that's not a realistic expectation. I wasn't providing enough grace for myself, for Gary, for my husband, and not allowing him to evolve. At the end of the day, we aren't the same person that we were 2 weeks ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and everyone has a certain spot in their life where it's going to take time to learn yourself again and to take patience. And the key word is grace. And I don't know if this is making sense, but I'm just flowing. But it really was a learning point, because I realized that I play a part too. I realized that I still have manipulative ways. I realized I still had aspects of me that wasn't being the best supportive being I could be for not only myself, but for my husband as well, for my friends, for other people. And there were certain aspects I wasn't being genuine, because I didn't know how to either express in a healthy way my emotions, what I was feeling, or it was like some inner child work where I felt innately terrified that I couldn't express, because yet I was still worried about how other people were going to respond. So that is a learning opportunity that I thought that I was past. Turns out God has many ways of humbling you, and it's not a bad thing. And that's another thing. I had to reframe that, well, this is bad, this is good. I had to relearn that my identity is not based off of a thought or a conditioned belief that you have, or a diagnosis, that it's simply, I am what I am in this present moment, and that is my job, to live in the present moment as authentically as I could be. And that's going to take a lot of sacrifices of ego. I realized my ego was securely attached to maladaptive behaviors, unconscious maladaptive behaviors. And for those who are doing the inner work and shadow work and practicing duality of integrating shadow and integrating the good, I had to take a hard look of faith. I had to talk to myself daily. The good, bad, and ugly faith. You know what? Maybe you weren't the best friend. Maybe you weren't the best wife at the time. But I'm not going to sit in it. I'm not going to thrive in self-pity. And I'm going to encourage anyone who feels like they are so heavily attached to identities of past experience, even current experiences, that let me backtrack, that you don't have to thrive in that. It's okay to be vulnerable and to tell people, hey, these are my expectations of what I expect. Also ask the other person, what do you expect? And then from there, all you can do is consider, take what you need to take. Let me backtrack. Take what you need to take, adapt it to you, and discard everything else. And lately I got that from a Bruce Lee concept. Lately I've been adapting to his philosophies of be like water, be adaptable. And for me, I was very much a time constraint and still am in a lot of ways, but I'm learning from that. I'm outgrowing that, and I'm so grateful that I'm aware of it to be able to change it. But it's one of the hardest concepts too. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's a beautiful thing, and I had to learn to forgive myself. I had to learn that in order to be flexible, to be adaptable, it took an amount of faith within myself to know that, hey, I'm worthy of all good things. I'm worthy of a good marriage. I'm worthy to have healthy friends. I'm worthy enough to forgive myself so I can forgive others, so I can extend that grace to others, so I can see people as they are. Because as a tendency, for those who don't know, I'm an empath. So a lot of those times I look at people for the good of what they become or what they can be, and oftentimes disregard where they're at in the moment. And when I do see in times that I do see it, it's like there's a resentment, because it's just like, or a judgment. It's a straight judgment, like, why aren't you where I think you should be? And it's not even about me. It's not about me and my feelings. And it's, it's about just being a support, just being present enough to love on people, enough to raise the vibrations, to showcase a true difference. That, you know what? I understand. And that understanding doesn't mean you always have to take certain behaviors. That's called boundaries. And that's something also I learned. But understanding that, you know what? There's certain aspects of you still have to learn. There's parts of you that honestly isn't your fault, because it's been conditioned for you to believe X, Y, and Z. But still on, be like water, and to watch how God uses the uncomfortability of those moments to showcase true worth, to showcase true love, because that is the prime example that we have. And I'm just grateful. And honestly, there have been many nights where I've cried myself to sleep. I felt completely and utterly alone, because I don't have a lot of married friends. I'm going back to my married part, the married aspect. I know I've been everywhere, but I don't have a lot of married friends. In one retrospect, that made me sad, because I feel like a lot of times I can't share with my single friends. There is a spider. I'm gonna need you to know. Thank you. So I had to move because there was a spider who got in my book bag, and I wasn't having that. As much as I love nature, they cannot come home with me. So we're just gonna keep going. And I'm pretty sure I left off as friends, but I want to talk about the resentment piece that I've been feeling. And I realized I've been feeling resentful towards people for not being me. And honestly, when you say it out loud, it's just like, hey, that's a little narcissistic, but it's also, it doesn't really matter. It's not realistic. And that was something I had to learn, is once again, forgiveness. But it has to start with me, because at the end of the day, we always project unto others what internally is going on with me. And it takes a level of accountability and love and grace to honor yourself, to know that, listen, I'm not going to be perfect, but I am still a divine, beautiful creature who is learning, not creature, but being, who is learning to undo so much, who is learning that not everybody is you, and that's a good thing. Like, you were meant to be showcased differently. I don't mean different in the sense that, okay, materialistic sort. That might be some aspects to it, to each his own, but for me, it was being realistic for myself, to know that I can do great things while still loving on others, while still seeing them for who they are. And that's what makes me unique. We live in a world where most people don't. It's cool not to showcase feelings. It's cool not to, I don't know, it's cool not to express. And it's not even our fault. It's cool not to give a F. And I don't get that. I get it, based off of past experience, but it almost caused the resentment towards human beings. And then when other people couldn't relate or understand what I was talking about, I honestly started judging and couldn't get disgusted. And that's what was happening with me in my other relationships, with my marriage, with friendships, honestly. Because at the end of the day, I do too much. It's a codependency habit that I am learning to unbreak, and I'm excited. I'm so proud of my growth, because it comes with awareness. It starts with awareness, right? And that is progression within itself. The fact that I'm aware that, okay, Faith, you don't need to overcompensate to showcase love. because that's where the resentment comes. Because if it's not reciprocated, then I got a problem with you, or I'm passive aggressive, or I was passive aggressive instead of just being truthful and honest, and not really, not that I don't care, because I care about how my words affect the people, but also my behaviors. And so again, this goes back to that accountability piece. And this season taught me how grace, and if there's one word I can think about, is grace. 2 words: grace and gratitude. To know that I have to extend that first, and God loves me so much that he is showing me wonderful opportunities. I had to reframe those frustrating, those unfair, those unjust experiences that honestly just have to come in order for me to evolve. And I was being angry. I had turned, instead of being grateful and viewing it as, oh my God, this has to happen in order for me to become, to resonate, to evolve into something greater outside myself. It has to start with grace and gratitude. Of course, the responsibility, and there's levels of mental health I had to do as well, like with my thoughts of thoughts of worthiness, of reframing identity, of knowing that I still could be a good wife, I still could be a good friend, I still can be any title hat that I wore, that I was doing the best that I could. And that's all God requires of me. Human beings may not understand, and of course every human being has their own expectations of what, whether consciously or unbiasedly, of what they think you should be doing. I had to undo that it's okay if I don't enjoy social situations anymore, because I saw a change in me. As I had to step back and really look at myself, I had to realize there's an innate change in me, because I was feeling these inside anxiety, almost this anxiety, this uprootedness. I can't really prescribe it into words, but just something wasn't sitting right with my spirit as I sat with myself and extended grace, extended love, and tried to really reshape things that internally I needed to do. And that comes with a change. And I realized I didn't really want to be around BS anymore. I didn't really want to be around complaining, around I don't know. I just wanted to change. Something much deeper than surface level conversation, something deep. I wanted my soul fed. And I felt lonely. I felt deserted by human beings, but I realized that was an unrealistic expectation I was putting on myself, that people are automatically going to understand the change within myself. Well, Faith, you fully don't understand the change within yourself. That's why you take the steps every day, and that's the beautiful part. And as I take the steps every day for myself, again, grace, 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 grace. I had to extend that to other people. That means my husband, that means my friends, that means honestly anyone that needs it, because that is the gift that God has instilled in me, to elevate not just Black women, but honestly the world. And it's honestly a freeing moment. That's why I'm laughing and just sitting back and flow. That's my saying, to sit back and flow, to just acknowledge the present moment, that I'm okay, I'm validated, I'm worthy of all good things. And I extend grace, 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 grace towards myself, the same way God extends grace to me, to thrive in uncomfortability, to thrive in the unknown, to let go of control. And that was another part. There was aspects that I was always trying to control. Innately, other people, well, I did it this way, so you got to do it this way. We're not guinea pigs. We're not mice. This isn't classical conditioning 101 where, if one person goes this route, then everybody else has to follow. I had to understand that everybody's journey is truly, truly, truly going to look different. There might be aspects where there's a connectiveness. You know what? I understand that situation. I also went there. Here's some words that helped me. Love. It is not a cliche saying. It is a cliche, but it's not, because In every religion, in every aspect, if you take the time to study, that is the number one concept, is to love one another, to love yourself innately. And that is the superpower. And that's what I have been learning with all of this. And it took a change of environment. It took us moving down here. It took us being uncomfortable. It took us to not understand the next steps. It took me to once again have to quit 2 more jobs because I knew this wasn't it. But just because I might have to take another quick job that, you know, because I'm kind of honestly over the corporate world. Like, I'm going off the bat here, but it kind of contributed to my resentfulness towards people, towards situations, towards myself, because it's like I felt like I was a failure. And that's not the case. Water, baby, water. So y'all, for those who are going through any relationship turmoil, for those who are losing, I say that with quotes because it's a matter of perspective, right? You're not really losing. It's an opportunity for God to undo, because what is needed for you to make room for the things that you want, that you desire, that you deserve. And it's hard to view it that way because we still have human emotions and they feel what they feel. And I'm sick and tired of these spiders. Y'all love it. Y'all love it. It's the vibration, son. Anyway, keep going. Keep going. Keep being authentically you. Keep showing up for you. There's a lot of people telling you that, but spirit knows spirit. And listen to your instinct. Forgive, 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 because you are freeing you and your divine spirit when you forgive other people for not showing up when you expect them to show up, or whatever the case may be. And it doesn't really matter, because if it did, then we all gonna just be miserable and upset for eternally. I mean, some people might be, but I refuse to accept that. So it took an active decision of just trusting to increase my faith. So let this serve as a reminder, y'all, to continually take the steps in honoring your emotions and feeling what you're feeling and being truthful with other people, including boundaries, and extending yourself grace when you mess up, when you don't do whatever but unconsciously your spirit is telling you what to do and you decided to ignore it. God is continually, he's ever present. Continue to be great. Continue to uplift. And I cannot wait. Please leave a message. Please feel free to connect with me. Leave in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram. I'll make sure I leave it in the description. For anyone who wants to connect, anyone looking for a mentor, because we're all learning at the same time. I'm no expert, but I know my truth and I know my story, and it is here to elevate and to really align with someone who needs it, because we're all beautiful beings that need time to rediscover ourselves. So y'all be great. Peace and love. Much blessings.